So my name is Sean and I am a former youth worker. And as a former youth worker, what I did was I engaged with youth who were delinquent. I engaged with youth who are from troubled backgrounds, and I also engaged with youth who were incarcerated in prisons. So I worked with a wide range of youths and I ran programs to help to improve their psychosocial behavior and also to mitigate some of the social circumstances that they were in.
What inspired you to work with youth?
It's a good question. So what inspired me to work with young people was because in my early 20s, I was a youth cell group leader in my church, and I worked with youth ranging from 13 to 16-year-olds. And what I saw back then was that youth are a very precious demographic of people in our country and our social circles, and they have a lot of potential to grow and to become better. You know, every day seeing that improvement and that growth was what inspired me to become a youth worker.
In your many years of service, have you experienced a burnout before, and how do you cope with it?
Yes, I've experienced burnout a few times. What I did then, I actually reclused myself from some of the youth that I was working with, so I didn't reply their messages after a while. What helped me was having a great supervisor and a great manager to help to process with me the things that I was going through, the things that I was feeling. So I was feeling very tired, I was feeling very weary because for some of the youth, there seemed to be no breakthrough. And sometimes he helped to manage some of my expectations as well. So having good supervisors and helping good managers goes a long way in dealing with burnout.
I think in your experience in mentoring youth, right? Do you think that, or have you seen youth from single parent families being treated differently from youth from nuclear families?
Yes, for youth who grew up in single parent families, what I noticed was that they find it a little bit more challenging to express themselves because they either don't have the vocabulary or the people in their lives to help them through, some of the changes that they're experiencing. One of the things that I noticed was that because, they don't know how to express themselves, they don't know how to express their own desires, for friendship, for companionship, or even for added responsibility, they sometimes get overlooked by their peers, their seniors, and also even some teachers.
What do you think are some ways that we can curb these misconceptions of the youth?
That's a very good question, actually. So some of these youth, they tend to have trouble, like I said just now, expressing themselves, experiencing their desires, expressing their feelings, and beyond just the normal I'm angry, sad, frustrated, beyond just expressing those things, they find it challenging to even express how they feel. For example, if they are overlooked, they don't know how to say that they are disappointed, but they say they're just feeling sad. What I do is that I have this thing called like an emotional wheel. So there are 16 or 80 or 20 plus different emotions that they can use to describe how they're feeling. So that was what I found helpful, in helping them to overcome these challenges that they have personally.
What do you think was the most challenging when working with them?
So the most challenging thing was actually to get them to open up. Again, because like I said, they don't know how to express themselves. The first few times of interacting with them, you sometimes feel like you don't know where they are really at. You don't know what they like. You don't know what they don't like actually also, because they seem to be okay with everything. But there are also unique people with unique desires. They too feel different things, but they just don't know how to express them. And so sometimes it's a bit of trial and error, it's like a bit of a dance. Sometimes you step on their feet, sometimes they step on your feet, and you sometimes have to navigate the tension a little bit more. You have to try and navigate the tension. Sometimes you have to gauge a lot of different things that are non-verbal cues, body language. You have to be more aware and a little bit more. You have to increase your skill in reading situations and reading people and how they respond to certain things.
How do you build rapport with these youths?
So funnily, how I did build rapport with them was actually I started to understand where they're at. You start to read their physical cues, what they are engaged in on their phones, the things that they watch, the things that they do on their phones. So most of them like to game. And so what I did to build rapport with them was I started to notice what games that they were playing. I think Call of Duty Mobile and Mobile Legends were like really big things for them. Actually, I went home to start training to get good at those games so that they would actually invite me to play with them, and then I to compete with them. So surprisingly, not surprisingly at all actually, they're actually very competitive. And what I did was, I get better at the game so that they want to play more with you or to get more tips from you. So that's what I did to build rapport with them. Yeah.
What was the most enriching or most memorable experience you had with them?
The most enriching and most memorable experience was when a youth that I took since he was Sec 1, he came back to me at Sec 2 or Sec 3. Yeah, and he came back to me and to thank me for introducing him to my center, and as well as the group of friends that he had through the program that we ran for him for them since they were Sec 1. And these friends that he has actually stuck on with him through the rest of his secondary school journey. So because of the program, he was introduced to many of his peers, and through the introduction, he gained a lot of confidence in himself, a good group of peers that actually reinforced certain good values and behaviors, and eventually they became really, really close and really tight-knit as a group. Yeah, so that's one of the most rewarding and most enriching things, to see him grow in confidence in expressing himself, to see him do well among his peers as well. Yeah, so that was really enriching, extremely memorable experience for me.
I think it's through these programs and mentoring that youth, the mentees themselves, discover more about themselves. So what are your thoughts on self-discovery, and do you think it's important for youth at this age to learn more about themselves?
Yeah, so self-discovery is very important. It's actually even something that I am going through myself. Every day. I think even as adults, you can ask your parents. Everybody is on the journey of self-discovery, especially for youth, because they're going through multiple changes. They are changing their peers almost every year. That's one. They are also going through physiological changes. Puberty, so different hormones. They're also developing physically, mentally, emotionally. All these things are changing rapidly, for them in this age group and age range. And sometimes they don't have people to process these changes with them and to help them to process it, to help them to understand it, and to give them an older perspective always helps. And this whole entire journey of self-discovery is something that is lifelong. And especially for youth who are going through multiple changes, especially require the extra attention and the extra care. Yeah.
With that, we've come to the end of the interview. Thank you very much, Sean, for making time to come here today to share a little bit more about what you did as a former youth worker.